Good day, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. For all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time, I'm Pastor Pope, and thank you for allowing us to come into your viewing environment. We are here with you, broadcasting live from the FijiWater.com sponsored studio, where you can discuss careers, finances, entrepreneurship. You can discuss marriage, divorce, raising children, blending families. You can discuss dating and relationships. Whatever's in your heart, whatever's on your mind, God is concerned about that which concerns you. And so we are here with you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, which is brought to you daily by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. You may already know that Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature? It is untouched by man. It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock, where the water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer, where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the blue cap. Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. This is not just ordinary water. This is Earth's finest water at FijiWater.com. And right now, if you order from FijiWater.com, 2 cases or more, you'll receive a 25% discount on your order and the code is SPRING, because spring is sprung at FijiWater.com. I'm going to say to all of our listeners and viewers who continue giving on the Give segment of our app at New Life-Delaware, and those of you that have made a weekly or monthly commitment to support the broadcast by giving on the Give segment of our app at New Life-Delaware and on the contribution pages of our websites at newlifeministriesinternational.com and newlifeinternationalcdc.com. We thank you for your support and for your commitment as we fulfill our commitment to God to be here for you, to address whatever topics are important to you and whatever issues of life you find challenging or that you find difficult to navigate. So we are Facebook Live, we're YouTube Live, we're RadioFreeNetwork.com. Live, go to RadioFreeNetwork.com/new-life. And every broadcast will be available to you, including the Sunday sermon on Sundays. If you're not in our area at 10:45 a.m., you can tune in. But of course, we invite you to come if you're in our area to worship with us at New Life Christian Center, 400 Hillcrest Avenue in Wilmington, Delaware, 19809. Service begins at 10 a.m., but the Sunday sermon goes live at 10:45 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and on RadioFreeNetwork.com. Go to RadioFreeNetwork.com/new-life. And every broadcast is available to you. And now, we have launched our 24-hour internet radio station, WKAP-Faith. You go to, there's 2 ways that you can get to us. On a quick link, you can tune in 24 hours a day to hear music that will encourage you and empower you and inspire you. 24 hours a day to be the best version of yourself that you could possibly become. And you can tune in by going to, first of all, short link, rdo.to/WKAP, or at RadioFreeNetwork.com/WKAP-Faith. And you will be able to listen to music 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I'm going to begin today. So I was going to address a specific communication first regarding someone who shared with us the challenge that they're dealing with, but I have to say that I don't think in the 4.5 years that we've been doing the Daily Divine Direction broadcast that I've gotten now I know our listener and viewership has increased significantly, but I can't tell you the last time my phone, my email, my text has blown up based on the discussion that we had yesterday regarding dating. And many of you are asking that I go back and address this topic today because there were some comments made that some of you are uncertain about, some of you don't necessarily subscribe to because you're living in the world. Even though you may be saved and in living a life of faith, you're still letting the world teach you how to live. And so you wanted to hear more about this. And I got a lot of comments yesterday. And I said, I'm probably going to get a lot of emails about some of the comments, but I needed to, one of our listeners and viewers sent in a communication regarding dating. And so I basically said that she's dating the wrong people. And now I am going to address this because I want to make sure that everyone gets this. And I even got, let me tell you how I know I got a lot of response, because I got communications from people who I know have never watched the broadcast, because this discussion came up among their friends, people who watched the broadcast. And so I know you're tuned in today, and thank you for joining us. I want to say this. So many of you communicated with me and said, I've never watched the broadcast before, but you got into a conversation with, friends and coworkers about dating, and the whole discussion took up most of the day off and on, and you want to hear more about this. And some of you even said you went back and reviewed the broadcast from yesterday because you wanted to really hear what was going on because of what was being said. So this is all good news, because this is the place where we come to hear from God. You hear from the world all day, every day. You hear from the world in your professional environment. You hear from the world in your personal relationships. You hear from the world through media sources, but here you're going to hear from God. And I received a revelation from God some time ago regarding dating. We've been doing this the wrong way for so long, we think it's the right way to do it. And I've often said that that's the problem, even in our Christian walk, that we've been doing things the wrong way for so long, we think it's the right way to do it. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to address this because of the fact that yesterday just blew up. And I'm thankful for all of the communications. All of you were very courteous. There was nothing said that was offensive, and I don't offend easy, just like I'm not impressed easy, but you all were just curious why you should approach dating that way. And so I'm going to go back to this, and I'm going to start over, and I'm going to walk us through this for a good portion of this broadcast, and then I'm going to address a couple of other communications that came in if we don't run out of time. Because this is a big subject for many of you. And I will take a pause to do a little business with the globe. But here's the reality. So most people date for entertainment. Some people date for a free meal. Because let's keep it real. There are some people who will go out with people that they have no intentions of having a relationship with. They just go out because they're asked to go out. It's a free meal. I can go out. I got somebody to talk to, and that's all it really is. Sometimes it leads to, one night stands. People have done that. Many of us have been there at some point in our lives. But here's the reality. The reality is that's just dating for a free meal. Now, men, we have to pick up the check. But it's still a free meal for women that we ask out, and it is sometimes dating for sport. Men, we're hunters. And sometimes women like to be chased, and they like to be caught in some cases. But we're doing this all the wrong way. So for the men out there, I'm going to save you some money. But for the women, you can use this as a joke also, because you don't want to go out with people just for the form of entertainment, for a free meal, or for sport. Dating should be done for a purpose. And the purpose has to have a mission statement. And the mission statement is, I am waiting for the one person, if you're a woman, waiting for the one person that God has assigned for my life. If you're a man, you're searching for the one woman that God has appointed for your life. And that one woman is a Proverbs 31 woman. It's a woman who's a virtuous woman. And I'm not talking about, so, there's a lot of questions about, how many relationships people have had. Some people call it a scorecard. Some people call it body count. I got all kinds of responses yesterday from the broadcast, from this topic. But here's the reality. None of that makes any difference. The only thing that really matters is, are the person that we're interested in, or the person who's interested in us, are they the person that God has appointed for our lives? So dating has to have a purpose, and the purpose is, I'm dating on a mission. And that's the mission, to be prepared for the one that God has appointed for my life, and to search out the one that God has appointed for my life. So now let's talk about that. So I said yesterday, everybody likes to go hang out at a restaurant or a nightclub or a supper club, for lack of a better term, that, some place where you can go and eat and drink and have a good time. Well, dating is not for the purpose of having a good time. It's for being prepared for the person who God has appointed for your life, and searching for the person that God has appointed for your life. So this is what this looks like. If a guy asks you out, don't get him to take you out to an expensive restaurant just because you want to go out to an expensive restaurant. Now, I have my favorite places to eat. I do. And as a guy, if I were single, now my wife and I, we will go to the places that I like to eat. My wife's a little different. She likes to experience different places. I like to go to the same places because I know what kind of service I'm going to get. So, sometimes we'll go to a place that I like to frequent, or sometimes we'll go experience another place to eat. But I say all of that to say, if you're single, guys, and you have a favorite place that you like to go and that you know the service you're going to get, it's okay to take them there for lunch if it's open for lunch. If not, find a place that's open for lunch. And if you're a guy, you should be asking the young ladies to go to church with you. That's just the bottom line. You should simply say to them, listen, I'm interested in you. This isn't game. This isn't a game. We've made it a game because society has taught us that it's a game. Listen, I'm interested in you, and I would like to take you to church with me on Sunday and out to lunch. If she doesn't want to do that, she's not the one that God has assigned for your life. You should take her to church and out to lunch 3 times. If she doesn't want to do that, move on. Don't waste your money taking to someone to an expensive restaurant to wine and dine them when you know that they're not the person God has assigned for your life. And the way that you know that is because they're not willing to go to church with you. They're not willing to be fed. They want to eat, but they don't want to be fed. Now that's for the guys. Ladies, if a guy is interested in taking you out, tell him that you will only go out with him if he takes you to church and out to lunch after church. That's it. Don't meet him for coffee. Don't ask him to take you out to a fine dining establishment. You can get to that later. First, you need to know what the plan is for their life. You need to know if you can be equally yoked. You need to know if you can walk together in agreement. You need to know that before you get involved and the heart and the head becomes involved in the matter. Now, I'm going to address what some of you ask about. What if you're already in a relationship? How do you make the adjustments? There are ways to do that, and I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about that for most of the rest of this broadcast because this topic really blew up yesterday. You've got to tell them, I want you to take me to church. If you're interested in me, I want you to take me to church and out to lunch on Sunday. And not just because it's Resurrection Sunday this week. You want them to take you to church and out to lunch 3 times for the next 3 weeks. That's what you tell them. You can talk and have conversations on the telephone after they take you to church on Sunday. You can have talks, discuss what you discussed at lunch. Break it down a little further. You can do that. But the first step is, I want you to take me to church and out to lunch. If he tells you he doesn't have a church, that doesn't mean that you have to eliminate him, but then invite him to your church. Tell him, then come to church with me, and we'll go out to lunch after church. He's to pick up the tab. There's no, let's go 50-50, let's go Dutch, none of that. He's to pick up the lunch tab. But he needs to take you to church, whether it's his church or your church, and out to lunch. That's what, if he doesn't have a church. If he doesn't have a church, if he does have a church, you need to go with him to his church. That's the first step. And then we're going to talk about the second step as soon as I do a little business with the Globe, because this segment of the broadcast has been brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. If you are not currently a T-Mobile customer, you may call or text the T-Mobile caller text line at 267-992-1424. We will move you into our queue so that you may become a T-Mobile customer and experience America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill. At T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. So, let me break it down for you a little further. So you're going to go to church and out to lunch after service. Now I know this is Resurrection Sunday, so this is fine. If someone's asked you out, that's where you want to go, even this Sunday. Now, it may be a little tricky finding some place to go for lunch, but, if you're like our church, we're in at 10, we're done. Praise and worship begins at 10 o'clock. Well, let me rephrase that. Intercessory prayer begins at 10 o'clock. Praise and worship immediately follows. We're done by 11:30. Okay. So you should be able to get in somewhere if you're in our area, at our church. But if you're not in our church, whatever time you get out, make a reservation for someplace so that you can go to lunch immediately following church. And then here's what you're going to do. You're going to have a discussion over lunch. And that discussion is not about the things that you enjoy. It's not about having fun. It's not about where you like to travel. It's not about where you want to go out to dinner. It's not about whether or not you want to go out to some place for entertainment. Not about what sports you like, where you're going to go out, what sporting events you might attend. It's not going to be about any of those things. It's going to be about your 7-year plan. Does he have a 7-year plan? So you have to ask him, what's your plans for the next 7 years? And then allow him to share with you his plans. If he doesn't have a plan for his own life, he can't possibly have a plan for a life with himself and a spouse. He's not the one that God has prepared for you. Once he's told you what his plans are, you need to tell him what your 7-year plan is. What you would have liked to experience over the next 7 years. Do you want to have a child? If you want to have a child, when would you like to have a child if you're blessed to have one? What are your personal goals? What are your professional goals? You need, over the next 7 years, you need to discuss those so that you can find out if the two of you have a plan that you can possibly merge together. Listen, first of all, are you equally yoked? Are you both Christians? Do you both have a relationship with the Lord? What's that relationship look like? Is God first? Because if God's not first, it's not going to be a good relationship, even if you last. Sometimes everybody's relationships, there are people living in relationships that have been in relationships for 30 years that are dysfunctional. You don't want a dysfunctional relationship. So you need to know, what is his relationship with the Lord? What is her relationship with the Lord? Can we be equally yoked? And then you need to know what your 7-year plan is, because you need to know, can you walk together in agreement? Can you merge that plan together and build a quality of life and live a successful quality of life? That's why you have that discussion. What's the 7-year plan? And then next week, we're going to go to church together and we're going out to lunch again. And then the conversation needs to be, again, not about entertainment, not about travel, not about sports, not about the things you enjoy doing. You know, we all have things we enjoy doing. Not that you like to go roller skating, not that you like to play tennis. Those things will come. Those conversations will come. The next thing you want to have a conversation about is your family, your life experiences. You want to talk about that. Because if you marry someone, you marry into their family. Even though a man and woman will leave their father and mother and cleave unto their husband or wife, their spouse, you still need to know about the family. Let me break this down for you. For those of us who get an annual physical, when you interview a doctor and a doctor is interviewing you, the first time you go for a visit to a doctor, the one thing they're going to start asking is about your family health history. That's important. That doesn't mean you eliminate people. Listen, just because someone grew up in the hood and maybe you grew up in the suburbs doesn't mean you have to eliminate them, as long as they have a plan for their life. What is it they're working towards? Because we all have to work towards something. We can never become stagnant and complacent. We have to continue to work out our salvation. So what are their goals? What are their aspirations? You need to know that. But you also need to know, has half of the family been diagnosed with mental illness? Or is there undiagnosed? In other words, is somebody in the family crazy? In other words, is there undiagnosed mental illness? You need to know that. And the reason you want to know that is because those are people you're going to be dealing with if you get married. Not to eliminate, but just to understand. That's what you're going to be dealing with. Long term. They're going to show up at some point, whether it's at a family gathering, at a funeral, at a wedding. You're going to encounter those people. You need to know what you're going to be dealing with. Not because you're eliminating the person from the equation, but so that you can walk together in a whole life together, in a great quality of life. You need to know. You need to have those discussions. But you also need to know, are there health issues in the family, particularly if you're going to have children? Is anyone dealing with hypertension, diabetes? Who's had a stroke? The doctor's going to ask you, if you've got a good doctor, he's going to ask you all those questions. He's going to want to know those things so that he can monitor how to deal with those particular issues when they arise. Those are the conversations that you need to have. Just doesn't have to be so deep that, you've got family members who have mental illness. Well, I just want to know if they're going to show up at family outings. That's the only reason I'm asking. Are there family members that have, how long did your grandparents live? How long have your parents lived? Those are things you want to know, not because you're eliminating them, but because you want to know, so that if you marry this person, you want to know perhaps life expectancy. Not to say that that's the end answer to all things, because God's in control of all things. But at least you get a clear picture of what the future could look like. Was his mother abused by his father? Did he watch? Because, not because you're eliminating him, but because he may either have the propensity to be abusive, or he's decided, and he'll tell you this, I don't want to be like my father. Was his father present in his life? I don't want to be like my father. You want to know those things because they help you to be able to build a great quality of life. And you share that, both sides of the family, your side, his side. That's the second time that you go out together for lunch after church. And then the third time that you go out to lunch and out to after church, you really want to, well, this is all part of the other 2 weeks also, but you really want to talk about what your intent is for raising children, if you're interested in having children, what's your long-term goals for your relationship with the Lord. Does he intend to read the entire Holy Bible? What's his revelation or understanding of the Bible? And how is he going to apply that to his daily life? That's really the third time. And then once you've covered all of those areas, the next time you go out, or even at the end of the third time, you can start talking about the things that you have in common. What do you like to do? What's he do for health and wellness? See, we've been doing this thing the wrong way for a long time. We've been looking at the things that the world looks at. Is he going to take you out and wine you and dine you? Is he going to take you to the most prestigious restaurants in the area? Is he going to, does he like to party? Does he like to, where do you want to go on your next trip? What type of events does he like to attend? Do you like to hang out in the club? Those are all the things that we've been doing for dating, and none of those lead to a great quality of life. See, once you've worked out all the other components, then you can find out the things you enjoy. You can really begin to understand, what are the things you're going to be able to enjoy together, and what are the things that you do separately that, may or may not come a time when you want to enjoy them together. But you want to really examine the possibility of what you can experience moving forward. I wanted to take the time today to really do this because as I said to you yesterday, this topic blew up. If you're already in a relationship, listen, if you're already in a relationship, you can change that too. And I'm not saying you necessarily have to end the relationship, but you need to have that conversation about what life is going to be like moving forward. And what life needs to look like moving forward for all of us is to be in church on Sundays, to form a relationship with the Lord. I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking the structure of religion. I'm talking about a relationship with the Lord that's going to benefit the quality of your lives and how you can improve your personal and professional life to be the best version of ourselves that we can possibly become. That's the goal. And that's why we need to change what we're doing. So you start to make some changes. And if the person in your life, the significant other in your life, is not interested in doing those things to build a better quality of life, then you're in the wrong relationship, and that's okay. You can get out before you get married. And if you're already married, then you're just going to have to talk about making changes and pray about it, because even your prayers may lead to the salvation of your husband. I want to just say to all of our listeners and viewers, Charles Tyrwhitt, ctshirts.com is one of our sponsors. The White Company at thewhitecompany.com is one of our sponsors. But I needed to say that. You can go online, view both of them. If you're not in any of the areas where they are located, you can shop online at ctshirts.com and thewhitecompany.com. But I needed to address this topic today because it blew up yesterday, and I really want to make certain that we begin to change the way we've been doing things, because we don't want to continue doing the wrong things, thinking and believing it's the right way to do them. Today, 3D, The Daily Divine Direction broadcast has been brought to you by Fiji Water. A taste of paradise will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery. And you'll save money at FijiWater.com. May God bless you today. May God keep his face turned towards you. May God give you peace that surpasses all understanding. Have a great day today. I look forward to being in your listening and viewing environment tomorrow. Remember, we are Facebook Live. We are YouTube Live. We are RadioFreeNetwork.com Live. Go to RadioFreeNetwork.com. Click on radio. The Dropbox will appear. Click on New Life. Every broadcast is available to you. And now we are also